Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where civilization starts over. Let's get into it. This is season 2, episode 6 of the series, and we can get into it. Let's start with 2 new layers, or really 1 new layer, an update to an old layer. Here's religions, yeah. So let me explain. This blue one here is the French religion, and well, the yellow one is the yellow religion. The red is the religion stemming from the red country, which does stem pretty far. And the green one is the Mesopotamian religion. This here is an offshoot of the red religion with some influence of the yellow religion, just like this little southern area is here. It's because it's sort of like an offshoot of like the yellow religion, but it does have some influence from the red. Just like this one here, this one has mainly influence from blue, but it also has some yellow influence, as the main people down here came from the yellow team. Yeah, like this, the people from, yeah. And also, provinces. New provinces. Oh yeah, those alliances stay the same. But new power rankings. France is the strongest, so the blue French country. Then Greece, Italy, Mesopotamia, then Ukraine. Ideologies, I've also updated those, and we can look at that later. Let's focus on these provinces. Yeah, they're pretty small. You think I should change them? Yep. Should I change them? They might be a bit small. Tell me in the comments if you think I should maybe make them a bit bigger. Yeah. And same thing with this religion map. If you think I should make, have different religions, like in Iberia or something, feel free to say in the comments, but let's get to the actual episode now. Today we're going to be starting over in Africa, as we can see that the gold team is going to be continuing to, explore Africa, eventually actually discovering that this thing exists over here in Algeria. They are surprised, especially since they don't have a religion, but they're going to attempt to get the yellow religion, or the southern Italian religion here, which is where most of the explorers from that explore into Africa are from, into here. So basically the gold team is going to attempt to make a colony in order to expand the religion. That's pretty cool things I've never mentioned before. I wish I could do that last season, but I can't. That's too late. But the yellow teams, as the gold team, will be making a little colony here and hoping to establish relations with the Algerian team. As the yellow team, not the gold team, expands, eventually taking and making a small colony here. They will be able to eventually connect up with the Algerian team, and the gold team is going to help the Algerians explore. And because the gold team, if we can go over here, if we can see they're a pretty large, exploring country. They've explored many areas, owning the whole Italian peninsula. They basically have one of the best, exploration forces in the world. So they're going to help the Algerian country go ahead and get, a sort of, more, expansions, as they sort of help them explore a lot more. The gold team is going to continue to expand their colony, as they want to help get more influence throughout this area. The Algerians are going to go ahead and also expand more and more into this area. Eventually, with a very, very large help with the gold team. The gold team is in their role for the gold team. The gold team's role is sort of basically making, just helping them survive. So, well, Algeria is going to join the Star Alliance. It's pretty large. Going over here, the gold team actually has the largest navy in the world, so they will be able to colonize these islands. Maybe not the largest, maybe besides maybe Athens. Greece is a decent contender. No, probably the gold team. Maybe even France, but who knows. Yeah. Time to go over to Spain now, as we can see that Spain is expanding a lot, or just the countries in Spain. As this country, the Lime country, is going to be expanding greatly, as they are doing very prosperous, if I can find the ideology layer there. with their theocracy. Their theocracy is different than France. France's is more of like, hey, you can't be here unless you're this religion. So, well, that doesn't really accept many people. But this theocracy and the Spanish theocracies here is what they're known. They're basically like, hey, you should probably be this religion, but it's okay if you're like a Mesopotamian religion. It's okay. So, well, basically these countries are a lot more prosperous. So they're able to expand a lot as they eventually go ahead and fill in the southern Spanish area. And then a new country is established over here with the new group trying to maybe like stand out in the Iberian Peninsula. They're going against theocracy basically. As an oligarchist, dark blue-ish sort of country thing here forms. This country is an oligarchist thing. Its base goal is to like counter the theocratic regimes, is what they call them in Iberia, or the rest of it at least. And they are just against like theocracy and everything it's for. They believe that, hey, we should have multiple people in power and not just be united under this religion thing. But, well, countries don't really like this, so they are going to be wanting to expand a lot more. Specifically the Iberian countries, as Iberia does not like that there's a country in their peninsula that's going against everything that is about them. I wouldn't like that either. But France still is applying that promise to the people that they won't expand, so they just aren't allowed to expand into any of this area. So what could be happening is the Spanish peninsula will being divided, and this is our new independent nation here. Yeah, our capitals later. Going over here, we can see, if you can, a major shift has happened in the world, specifically down in Athens, as Athens becomes a flawed democracy. Well, for a while, Athens has been a developing democracy, which has some democratic values, but not very many. Few, basically. And basically, they become an actual democracy. This is pretty large. And many countries around the world are starting to maybe like approve Athens and what they're doing. But the red team isn't. Wait, what should I do now? Let's go up to here, as we can see a pretty large part of France breaking away from the French Empire. As the Republic of Eastern France breaks away from the French Republic in order to try to break away from the theocratic government, if I can find the layer, wrong layer, that is taking over, quote unquote taking over, France. So basically, this rebellion is against, well, this, and is working to like sort of have religious freedom. As well, they are pretty ethnically divided, as we can see. Let's make a quick outline of the nation so we can sort of see what they look like ethnically. They basically have a kind of mix between French religion and yellow religion. I think they even have like a tiny bit of blue. No, not really. But what I'm saying is basically like they're sort of like divided. And they don't really want to be theocratic and all just the blue religion. So what this thing is going to do is it's going to attempt to break away. And it's going to start with much of the civilian population going ahead and going down these rivers, taking some of these major cities. France did not expect this, as they are a strong country. If we can find the stability map all the way down here, they are very unstable. Not as unstable as Greece, though, which somehow they're surviving, but let's go back here. As the civilian militias continue to go ahead and capture more areas of France, of the French Republic, as they go ahead and capture multiple major cities and start approaching the French capital. But they are sort of stopped by this river. But they do get past, some people do get past, but the French are pushing back. As they start to push back around these rivers, eventually recapturing this major city. But the French are very weak compared to this government. as France is very unstable, and they are just going to, not do well, as they are very close to losing their capital. But France is the strongest nation in the world, so they will have a lot of success pushing back once they get their military organized. Yeah, that makes sense. As they go ahead and take this major city, eventually going ahead and recapturing this one, and going down this river, eventually capturing this one, and making this massive encirclement, eventually fully taking these areas, as France is starting to push back against the rebellion. But then another country decides to join in on this war against France. It's the oligarchist thing here. The new oligarchist thing, this isn't really in support of the government, but it's really in support of the people. The people are oligarchists, they're supporting of a dictatorship. How do you ever see that happen in history? You don't, is the thing. But this thing will have a lot of supports throughout the entirety of this French region, as, well, they don't want to be part of France anymore. People are done with France. I think it might be appropriate to update the stability map. There. That's more appropriate, having it be red instead of an orange. But this country is going to do very successfully, as, well, nobody likes France. And then a new country is going to join in on this war. The Lime team joins in on the war in order to get the Catalonian coastline, as they are able to take over all these regions. And then the Gold team joins in on the war. And the French are like, whoa, what are you doing here? This is not your territory. And then France is going to surrender over to the impeding sides. This is a surprising surrender, and France calls out to their people saying, hey, this is a war we can't fight. We are going to be surrendering to protect you and make sure you can, be here without dying. And this is actually going to be supported by the French a lot. And the stability starts to go up to yellow, actually, which is pretty high for them. They're still unstable though, but we can look at the peace treaty of this war. Yeah. The peace treaty of this war. So firstly, we can see that this nation gets its independence with its capital in this major city. Is it along the river? If I can find it. It's sort of on the river. But if we look at the province, we can see that it takes some provinces. And we can see that the Lime team takes this land, the Gold team takes this land, and the oligarchist thing takes this. Yeah. So basically, well, the war's over now. France is not as powerful as they were before, but they're still pretty powerful. But they are actually going to get a lot higher on stability as the stability levels go up to green. No, not that green. More like a lime green color. Yeah. I think it's time to do some other parts of the world now because we've done so much already. Let's erase some of this. Yeah. Let's go over to some of the unexplored territories in Caucasia. As these Mesopotamian countries and Ukraine will be going ahead and exploring the Caucasian region. As they go ahead and explore the entire thing, and we'll be working towards exploring Central Asia. That's pretty big. And Ukraine is also very expansionist or explorationist, and they start to do mass expansion or exploration over into here. Yeah. And well, where should we go now? Let's go down south. Because Mesopotamia is going to be greatly exploring these areas over here, rapidly, exploring, and they are even going to start claiming a bunch of this land, as they want to connect up with Egypt. Do you know why? You don't, but now you do. Or at least you do now. Maybe now, as Egypt joins the Silk Alliance. That's pretty large, and well, because of that, Mesopotamia wants to connect up with this. And well, they will be able, with the help of Egypt, be able to connect up with Egypt. And this is not a very good looking border, so let's just fix that. And this is what the area looks like. And where should we go now? How about Africa? As we can see that the Egyptians, with help of Athens, continue to, explore Africa. As this area is becoming a very, big place for, curiosity in this region. Or just the world. The world is very curious about Africa. Eventually, after a few years, they will be able to explore the entirety of the North African coast. And the Gold Team, being the powerhouse they are, is going to start to claim it, as they make a small colony here. And this is going to put their power over the edge, and they are the official strongest country in the world. And, if you want to go anywhere in the Mediterranean, you're going to have to go through the Gold Team. That's just the rule of thumb in this area. Yeah. Going over to here, we can see that the Yellow Team continues to explore Poland. Did I say Yellow Team? Yes, I did. Because the Yellow Team is going to be doing something weird once they figure out that this Polish area exists. But first they will be exploring it, of course. Kind of leaving out Germany, but the Yellow Team discovers, hey, you exist, Mr. Dutch thing. Yeah. And the Yellow Team doesn't like this. But that's not the weird thing they're doing. Just discovering them. The weird thing they're doing is they are, doing that. I didn't expect that. As the Yellow Team makes a colony in Poland. Yep, this is the same Yellow Team down in the Balkans. Nobody expected this. And I just kind of made it up along the way, but, let's just go continue exploring. As more nations continue to explore and explore and explore, as they also have to expand in order to survive, as this blue nation is going to greatly expand around this area, as they will be reaching this river and claiming a bunch of region areas, as we're sort of getting to the age where mass expansion in unexplored areas is sort of viable, even for a country like the Yellow Team. But the Yellow Team is still sort of in a weak state, so they can't expand as much, but they are able to expand. Going over to you, Mr. Green Team, the Green Team is going to be going ahead and expanding across these Caucasian regions, actually making a border with the Ukrainians. And, the Green Team isn't actually very stable. Have I represented that in the stability map? No, but their stability is more like an orange now. Because of their religious diversity, and also, should I add an ethnicity map? Because this is very confusing, especially in Anatolia. These people down here consider themselves orange. Some here Mesopotamian people here. Some people here consider blue team. Some Ukrainian. This thing is just a giant mess over here in the Green Team. And its stability is low because of that. Yeah. What to do? Oh my, England. As well, the French will be going into England and, exploring it. And, they will be going up, eventually discovering a lot of these areas here. And, that is going to... Let's go up to Sweden. As we see a civilization being established. Or really we see, a group of people, sort of pop up and sort of, explore over in this Swedish-Norwegian area thing here. Going ahead and expanding across this coastline before, if I can make sure it's correct, eventually forming a civilization. A civilization pops up in Sweden. That is a pretty big thing, but nobody knows about them. They have to go through Denmark, or at least the rest of this does. But going over to Russia, we see a civilization being established in Russia. Or just like Sweden, people expanding, civilizations forming. As we have a sort of blue Russian country popping up over here, and this thing is going to go ahead and expand or explore crazy because of all the rivers, the abundant rivers nearby, as they go ahead and will be continuing to expand a lot. That's pretty big as they establish their civilization around some of these rivers, but they do go over some of the borders a bit. And, well, let's just establish some of these civilizations around the borders of the rivers, because that does make sense for this time period. They don't actually fully, settle this area here that I'm erasing, but let's just make a little bit of a nicer border. As they go ahead and, well, explore a lot over into these areas, or expand, making the civilization expand around these rivers. But one more place, civilization pops up in one more place around the world. Where in the world could this new civilization pop up? As humans pop up in China, of all places. China, humans are in China officially, and they quickly go ahead, explore across China. Eventually, after exploring some more, they will eventually establish the Chinese civilization. China is on the map, and if I can color this a bit more, we can see. Let's actually color this in the right way, like this, like that. And they also have this area. We can see that civilization is everywhere. It's over in China, over in Russia, Sweden, and all of Europe, basically. And basically, civilization is in many areas around the world. And that is gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's scenario where civilization starts over. See you in the next episode, and bye!